Hello.
Hi.
Welcome back.
Welcome
to Father, Son, and the Holy Sisters.
Taking back the Holy Trinity.
I'm Shyla.
I'm Sarah.
We're back
We are back.
for our second episode here.
Yes.
This episode
We're going to talk about demons.
So, only light, love, high vibrations are...
Yes, and the best, goodest intentions.
Yes, only that is allowed here today and in this home, and whoever may be listening, that is only allowed here. So, I guess pre-warning, we are talking about demons. I am not going to be saying some of the demon names, just because I don't really want to.
Yeah.
But...
Are we going to talk about our friend that's joining us today?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we have a guest, and she'll be here for, like, basically the rest of the podcast and the episodes that continue. And here she is.
She's a little Victorian doll.
Yes, hand-painted and tailored and everything, so, yeah.
We got it from a antique shop.
Yes, and when I was, like, walking down, like, the aisles or whatever, I looked over, our eyes met, and I knew instantly I had to take her home.
Yeah, seriously. And I don't remember how much she was, but yeah,
Not
everything's
that expensive.
hand-tailored to her, and
Yeah.
we'll eventually have shelves up so we can just kind of hang her up behind us.
She's got a mask and everything.
Yeah, but we're thinking her name Clarice. I also like Adeline or Adelaide.
That's pretty.
So, I mean, I guess if you guys have any names that you want to
We would
let
love
us know.
suggestions.
Yeah. Anything new for you this week?
People at work, if you know who you are.
Yeah.
They love the podcast.
That's
I
good.
love hearing your guys' feedback. It just makes my day, and it makes me keep wanting to do this, to know that people are actually listening and enjoy.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, last night when I left your house after we did some research for today's episode, I got locked out of my house.
What?
Yeah, and for some reason I didn't have my key with, because my truck key and my car keys are separate. I don't know why. Don't ask me. I need to switch that up. But my front door was locked. I was like banging on the window trying to get in. I was calling my husband, and he just was sleeping.
Oh my
So
God.
I went around back, and the sliding door was unlocked.
That's good.
So I went in the sliding door.
Oh my God. Of course. After, like, researching demons and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I got really spooked last night because I was doing research on this
Oh,
one.
you did last night?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know if you were
Yeah.
going to do research this morning or not.
On this one lady and her kids and her story, and I didn't finish it because it was like after 11, and it just scared me, and I couldn't keep doing it, and I had to just take a break from there, and yeah.
Right. Also, if you guys didn't know, we do have a YouTube channel.
Yes.
We did buy a webcam that's like 1080p, so hopefully like the
It looks
quality
alright.
looks a lot better, because we were using my MacBook like camera last time. If you don't watch our YouTube videos, that's fine.
Yeah.
Whatever. But if you want to, we do have videos of our podcasts.
To each their own.
Yeah. Obviously, you don't have to watch YouTube. Some people just enjoy YouTube better.
Yeah.
Or
It's
don't have like
easier.
Spotify
Yeah.
or, Apple Music or Amazon or whatever. So it may be easier for some people. But should we get into it?
Yes. What?
Okay. Do you want to start us off, or should I?
It doesn't matter.
Okay, well, I'll start us out.
Okay.
Should we talk about like our beliefs on demons first before we go into our stuff? I feel like we should.
Probably just to preface, and just so, like, we're being upfront with our beliefs just right out of the gate.
So I like follow a lot of pagan like traditions and pagan stuff and like their beliefs. I'm very spiritual, but I don't believe in heaven and hell. Do you, I guess?
I don't believe
like as far as like the Bible, like what the Bible says.
No, I don't believe in the traditional Bible, heaven and hell. I don't believe in hell. I just kind of believe that our souls reincarnate, so we live more than one life. And
I know we both believe in that we like have a contract when we come into this life, and we're contracted like for everything that happens in our life.
Mm-hmm.
But when we were talking the other day about demons, we're like, well, people that like claim possession and stuff, how does that work? Like,
right, if there's no hell.
Yeah, because I don't believe in hell.
Right.
And like we'll go into kind of what demons are like over history just a little bit, but like,
and these are our own
know.
personal beliefs, so when we're talking about there's no hell or whatever, that's just what we think and what we believe. So we're just trying to like,
we're not changing your views.
No,
we're not trying to change
if you don't agree with that, that's fine. Like, that's just kind of what we believe in. So we've just been like wondering, like, so what are demons then exactly?
Right. And like if someone is possessed, is that just part of their contract to be like possessed by an evil spirit or something? Like how does that work? That's why I'm so confused. And like a lot of times in history they're said to just be like psychologists believe that it's just a mental illness,
which a lot of the times I believe it could be, because just like feeding more and more into the possession and what a possessed person is going through.
Right.
If like people keep feeding into that, or if they're really mentally ill and they don't know, or they truly do believe themselves that they are possessed, and of course their family wants to do anything they can to try and help them. So it's really complicated.
Like if you do explain it in like a scientific explanation, like I'm just curious how scientists like explain like demonic possession, or if they've seen it, because Two Girls One Ghost did an episode on Dr. Gallagher, who was he a psychiatrist?
Yeah, I believe.
Or psychologist. I don't exactly remember, but he had seen like demonic possession, and like he had no scientific way to explain it. Yeah.
Yeah. And he did he believe in possession and such before he witnesses?
Okay, no, he did not believe it. No, he did not believe in possession.
Right. So, and then he sees this horrific event that he can't scientifically explain, and he just kind of changes.
And that's when he started doing cases of, which we can talk about that case too one day. Basically, Dr. Gallagher, like someone contacted him about someone that had a demon possession, and like went to go look at the case and whatnot, and there's a whole story on it.
It's a lot, so we'll have to do an episode on that.
Yeah, or you can go listen to Two Girls One Ghost. They have a whole episode on him, and I believe they emailed them, or Dr. Gallagher emailed Corinne and Sabrina to do an interview. So I don't know if they'll do that, but that'd be super cool to like really interview
cool. To listen to that.
Yeah that'd be crazy. Okay, well, do you want to start us off then?
Sure.
Or I can.
While we're on this track of possession and whatnot. It doesn't matter.
So it is believed, like in the world, it's a big belief that demons are like pure evil and from hell, born of sin, that like they have nothing but malicious intent. But I don't know. I guess just tell us what you believe, which that does kind of discredit the whole like fallen angel theory. That like Lucifer was a fallen angel, etc. But then a lot of people believe that they're just born of evil, even though a lot of like, you know, angels were sent down and turned into demons. But we don't need to go down the whole rabbit hole of like the fallen angels and stuff.
Yeah, we'll have to do a whole
talk about that another day.
Separate episode of that, and Lucifer and misconception of who he actually is. Yeah, we'll have to do that.
So the word demon was originally daemon, which is spelled Daemon, or Daimon. That was the Greek word daemon, and that did mean like a lesser deity or lesser god, or like a divine or helpful spirit. So that's originally what the word like daemon was. It was just like a helpful spirit. The word kakodaemon, I don't know how to pronounce that, but that word was known as like an evil spirit in Greek origin. And then early English started pronouncing A as in daemon and started pronouncing it E as in demon. So that's kind of how it was switched around. And people sometimes do still use the term daemon as like a good spirit or helpful spirit or a lesser of a deity.
So many believe there are 200 demons that exist. Only the ones that were cast down from heaven. Others believe they breed with one another and with humans. So, yeah. So the first one were Furies. This is basically stems from Greek mythology and very interesting.
I only learned about them yesterday.
Really?
You told me that you like knew about them.
Yeah,
they're kind of cool.
In love with Greek and Norse and a lot of mythology. So
yeah.
But basically the Furies were like sort of vengeful demons, and they were women, and whenever mankind would do any wrongs, whether to their own family, to the earth, to the gods, the Furies would basically come down to earth and strike them and like just punish them. So
and these were like Furies of the Greek gods, you said.
Yes.
So like they were like sent down by the Greek gods.
Yes. So I bet men were quite afraid of women or to do any
Greek
wrongs.
men.
Yeah.
Kind of flip the tables a little bit.
Well, there are some city-states in ancient Greece where women were viewed very highly. So, yeah.
Well, I think they should be viewed highly.
Yes. I mean, there were warrior women in some city-states.
Right. Another well-known entity over time is Lilith.
Yeah.
And she has been known as early as 2000 BC, was written in the Epic of Gilgamesh. She was known as a Sumerian succubus, and that was like the first known writing of her was a Sumerian succubus. Which we don't have to get too much into Lilith because we could honestly have a whole entire episode on Lilith. But she was believed to be the first woman to stand up to a man. So that was when she was believed to be Adam's first wife before Eve. And God sent 3 angels down to kill all of Lilith's babies for not wanting to lay beneath Adam. So she stood up to Adam and was like, like, I don't want to have sex with you. Right. So you go, girl, for like standing up to Adam and being like,
Yeah, in the Garden of Heaven or whatever.
Garden
of
like, Eden.
Yeah, of Eden. And just being like, no, I'm not taking this.
Right.
Oh my God.
But we could go so much into Lilith.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Let us know if you want us to do like a whole entire episode on Lilith, and we could like do a whole entire episode on Lucifer, on like just mythology of like entities that were seen as wrong, but have quite a lot of different stories about
misconceived in the public of
yeah
what people usually think they are. All right. And then you have the obvious and quite popular 7 demons of the deadly sins.
Right, which I didn't put their names. I originally did have all 7 of their names and like what they're depicted as, but I just didn't feel right like saying all 7 of their names, especially in my home, like where my baby is and stuff. Like I just
we don't if you want to know their specific names,
just Google them.
Google it.
A well-known one is Satan.
Right.
So that's a well-known one.
Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of people have heard of what the 7 deadly sins are, but if you want to know specifically what the demons' actual names are, just go ahead and Google it. Those are, first 3 are the fallen angels: pride, gluttony, and wrath. Then envy, greed, sloth, and lust. So, Yes, and they all have names that connect to what their sin is.
Right.
So,
And they were
Yeah.
all seen to be like fallen angels. For sure, the first three are known to be fallen angels, but
pride would be Satan, and then
wrath
so on.
is Satan, pride is Lucifer.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So pride was known as Lucifer.
Yeah.
That was Lucifer's sin, was pride, because he was prideful, and that's when God damned him to earth, out of heaven.
Because he just didn't want to follow the group.
Right?
He just
You go Lucifer.
He didn't want to follow everyone else.
Right.
What's so wrong about that?
Another one, which I'll just go into it. So it's called Jinn or Genie. That's of Arabic mythology. And these spirits were unseen by humans and they did inhabit Earth. They are flame beings in the same manner as like humans are earthly beings. They were flame beings. They were said to punish humans for any harm done to them intentionally or unintentionally. They're said to be shapeshifters and wish-granting abilities. So Jinn, there's a popular Disney movie,
Yes.
Aladdin.
Of course, Aladdin.
The genie in
Yes.
Aladdin is said to be a jinn.
Yes.
Which is crazy. Like, I never knew that until I kind of looked into jinns. I had heard of jinns, but I didn't connect the genie and jinn.
Yeah, there's a lot of different jinn, like good, bad, human-like, shape-shifting. Like, there's so many. It
Yeah.
goes so deep. We should do a whole episode on jinn.
Should we?
Yeah,
We should. We could have, like, we could watch Aladdin
Yes.
and then do an episode on jinn and
Yeah.
kind of, like, feel the Aladdin.
Yes.
I love
Yes,
Aladdin.
I do too, even though it's not, like, historically accurate where
Right.
it is and, like, the original
Well, yeah,
or
because the
whatever,
movie
but-
is Chinese, isn't
Right,
it?
yeah.
And Jasmine is Persian. And then Aladdin, I think, is he Arabic? Arabian. Yeah, Arabian Night song.
Yeah.
So Aladdin was Arabian, but Jasmine was Persian. But it was set in, like, a Chinese
Yeah.
setting.
So, yeah, we'll have to do a whole thing on jinn. That'd be interesting.
I just, like, when I learned that about the
There's
genie in Aladdin,
There's a book
like,
that I picked up at the bookstore, and it's about a jinn and a golem. Golem is from, like, Jewish mythology. So that book is so interesting. Like, you should read it.
do you remember what it's called?
I think it's just called The Jinn and the Golem or something like that.
Okay.
Okay, moving on. So now we're going to kind of go into the origins of exorcism, I guess, where it
Yeah.
started, how it can be what it is today. So the first exorcism... I'm going to be saying exorcism a lot. I'm so sorry. The first exorcism took place in the New Testament when Jesus performed his first miracle to basically exorcise a spirit. Yeah. So all the way back there. And then in the first 2 centuries of the Christian era, it was seen as a gift bestowed on like men of the church or whatever. And then,
gift.
yeah, basically. Later on, it became more like specific to only certain people, but
Right.
yeah. And the Catholic Church, to combat paganism and other religions, actually like clumped together exorcisms and baptisms. They're basically one and the same. So they're like, oh, we're going to exorcise your religious demons from you
Are you serious?
and baptize you, and now you're a Christian.
So
and you're
because I believe
exorcised.
in, like, pagan traditions and beliefs, I would be exorcised.
Me too, yep, we would be exorcised, but basically they would call it a baptism, but we would be exorcised of our religious demons because we didn't
So
believe in the...
I was exorcised twice.
Yeah, you were.
I was baptized as a baby, and then I was baptized later on
Why
when I
were
was
you-
like 12.
Oh, for your dad.
Yeah, which I could get into a whole topic about family stuff, but basically my biological father was, I believe it's Baptist. Baptist Christians is a denomination that believes that you should be baptized when you recognize what it means to be baptized. And then Lutheran churches, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe the Lutheran church, they believe to baptize babies. And then Baptist church believe baptism when you understand what it means to be baptized. So I was baptized as a baby, and then my biological father was like, you need to be baptized again, but you need to understand what it means to be baptized. And I was baptized in like a horse trough, water trough thing. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
They had like a horse, like water trough thing outside of the church, and like filled it with water, and like there was like a group of people around, and like
so they completely dunk you in.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Like movie style? Like, whoosh.
Yes.
That's so messed up. I'm sorry.
I know.
What the hell?
He literally made me get baptized.
In a horse trough.
Yeah, that's like what the church didn't have horses. They just bought a horse trough at the church, and they kept it there for baptisms.
Why didn't they like do something more special instead of a literal horse trough?
I don't know. People get baptized in like lakes and shit.
Yeah, lake would be better.
Yeah, right? But like looking back, that church, like, sorry to go off topic a little bit.
No,
but
it's okay.
So churches are amazing as in the fact that you have a community to be with. And like they would do potlucks, and they would do like, so there would be potlucks, and then we would like go outside and play dodgeball and stuff. Like it was so much fun.
Yeah, I remember like summer school at church.
Yeah, like a community is so fun.
Yeah,
like I wish there was a church out there like in our area. I'm sure there are churches around, but like a church to get together with like people of the same beliefs that aren't Christians.
Well, why don't we make one?
We should, but where are we gonna do this church?
In the woods? It doesn't have to be in a building.
I guess just get-togethers.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be like one. I mean, we could find one specific place that's, you know, sacred to us, but
yeah,
along the line or what down the road or whatever. But
yeah, I just remember like as a kid, it was so much fun to go to church, and I just remember like playing giant hide and seek with people at church, and like the potlucks were so good. Like all the food that church people brought was so good. It was delicious. And like Bible camp, so much fun. And like I went to other camps too, but like just the whole church and like gathering together is so much fun. Like I still want to do that. And we do kind of have like a little bit of like a church,
it's a religious
spiritual
gathering,
get together,
but in the spiritual sense.
Yeah,
it is, because the definition of like a religion is creating a group of like 2 or 3 or more people like that believe in the same thing. That's basically what a religion is. So
we kind of have our own religion every Thursday and go to church every Thursday.
Yeah, which I'm so grateful for.
Yeah, me too.
I never see it as like a church or whatever, just because of
I feel like the word church,
fluid we are, whatever we do.
And the word church, if you aren't a Christian, can be seen as something that you feel negative about because it's not something that you would go to.
Right. And
especially if you aren't Christian.
Yeah, some people have like negative experiences, or they yeah. So it is seen, which is kind of sad because church isn't like, I don't know, it's not specific to one religion,
right?
And religion is a whole umbrella of stuff. But yes, off topic a little bit, that's fine. So
it's okay. We can have some banter.
Yeah, that's all right. So yeah, the Catholic Church would basically cleanse people of their demons, and those demons
religious
were
demons too,
just different beliefs. So there are many ways to exorcise a demon at this time and today, I guess. So the obvious is salt and water. You know,
Holy water.
Yes. And I'm gonna read from a 12th century manuscript of like the rites that they would use.
Oh my god.
I'm gonna read it. Okay. If you're not
so
watching
there's any
this,
demons around us right now, you might want to go away.
But
Okay.
I'm so sorry if this is embarrassing, but I don't care.
Do it.
And if you're watching on YouTube, you're at an advantage. Okay. I exorcise the creature of salt by the living God, by the true God, by the holy God, by the God who by the prophet Eliseus command thee to be cast into the water.
That's the actual manuscript from the 12th century.
Yeah, and you can actually buy that today online. So if you want to like know what they would say and everything,
you can buy the manuscript of like the 12th century exorcism,
the rites and everything.
Oh, God.
Yeah. And of course they used the Hail Mary and the Lord's Prayer. And they also used like artifacts like crucifixes or relics or whatever special to them. And yeah, in their exorcising rituals. And today the Catholic Church still uses that manuscript.
Is it just Catholic churches that use it, or do other churches too? I wonder.
Other churches do too. I believe it's like just this one manuscript that the Catholic Church like basically wrote up back in the day, all those years ago. Don't quote me, I don't know for sure, but I read like you can be exorcised by any denomination, like any church, like Lutheran, Baptist, like any of those can.
And do you have to be licensed
exorcise you
to do exorcisms?
You have to be licensed by the church, I believe.
So how do you be licensed? Like, what does that entail, I wonder? Like, do you take like a class on how to exorcise?
I don't know. I think you have to go into like the specific like part of the church or whatever if you want to be an exorcist. Like I think it's more like a tight-knit group than it was back in the day. You can't just be like, oh, here's your exorcist papers. So don't make sure you have a license.
Yeah,
you're gonna exorcise some demons.
Right. So I'll go into exorcism today. So in 99, the Catholic Church actually did change that rite and the manuscript to exorcisms to somewhat simplify it because it was 84 pages and kind of make it more understandable. But the bones of the manuscript are essentially the same as it was. It's that manuscript that you just very well read off to us.
You love my acting and pronunciation skills.
And at this time, it was also stressed that possession and mental illness are not the same. And so that was in 99.
Yeah, so at kind of
my gosh,
the turn of the century and modern day, it's just becoming more important that you
so just
really
the
know.
church or like Christians believe possession and mental illness are not the same, but then like we were saying in the beginning of talking about demons, that like psychologists, scientists and whatnot don't have like an explanation, or they do believe that it is a mental illness.
Yeah, but the church very much like divides a line and knows like there's a difference, and you got to make sure that you know what you're doing,
right?
Which is why.
But
you're
like,
licensed.
if they believe that there is a difference, how do you draw the line when it's very thin? Like when a person is possessed, but it's like that demon or whatever spirit is possessing them isn't coming out as like crazy. Like, you know, the
like
exorcism movies, you know, that you see or hear of that are crazy, but like you said, more subtle. Like, how do they draw that line of like actually being mental illness or being
I don't know. I mean, you would think they would get like a psychiatrist,
right? Or if they were just an angry person, and they just have like actual anger, mentally have anger issues. Would the church see that, or would they be like, oh my god, this person's so angry, they're a demon?
I don't know. That's hard to say, because you would hope that they would know what they're doing, and that, but also if their religion is might be clouding their judgment if they truly do believe
Right.
that's a demon, and they want to help this person as much as possible. Yeah, that's really difficult.
As commonly seen in the media, you will be kind of sat or laid down by the priest or whoever is performing the rites in the manuscript above you. At times, a person with the abilities to see demons and angels were present. So was that seen as like a medium or like
Yeah, basically, like, just someone who has the ability.
to see the
Yeah.
demon would be there to like see the demon leave the
Yeah.
person or whatever. So The American Exorcism, which is a book by Michael Cuneo.
I don't know. Sorry.
He talks about how a 5-year-old Bronx girl died after her mother and grandmother forced her to drink lethal cocktail containing ammonia, vinegar, and olive oil, and then bound and gagged her with duct tape. The two women claimed that they were merely trying to poison a demon that had infested the girl several days earlier. There was also cases of women being pummeled and trampled to death during exorcisms.
It brings me chills.
So yeah, like we were saying, if you're not licensed,
Do not try
Don't
this
do
at
this.
home, please.
yeah, don't try exorcising a demon, please.
Please do not. Now we have a couple possession stories to read.
So trigger warning,
Yeah,
if you
warning.
don't want to listen to demonic stories, just
They get dark.
this is gonna be the end of our episode,
Right.
so you don't need to listen anymore. And thank
Yeah.
you for listening.
Yeah, thanks for listening if this is all you want to
I love you guys. If you don't want to listen to the
Yes.
demonic story,
I love you guys so much. Totally understand.
Yeah.
You just don't want to put that in your head sometimes.
Right. Sarah, you want to start us off
Sure.
with your story?
Okay. So I got this quite popular story, event that happened from a news article. So if it sounds like I'm like just reading from something, that's what I'm reading from. I started typing it out last night, but I couldn't continue because it was late and I didn't want to. It scared me.
Yeah.
So I'll just start out here. In November of 2011, LaToya Ammons and her 3 children moved into a rental home down a quiet lane of houses on California Street in Gary, Indiana. That next December, the family experienced swarms of big black flies in their screened-in porch, despite the cold weather and their constant killing of them. So can you imagine? In December, freezing cold in
Right,
Indiana.
'cause Indiana gets cold
Yeah.
like we do in Minnesota.
These flies keep popping up after you've killed them. However, that seemed to be just the beginning. After darkness fell and midnight approached, the family would experience strange noises of footsteps climbing up the basement stairs. They would also hear the door between the kitchen and the basement creak open. Oh my god. Creak. No one was there, and yet the creaking persisted even after they locked the door.
No.
So,
No.
no, thank you. That's the first sign, ladies and gentlemen. As I stated previously, Rosa Campbell is LaToya's mother. So one night, Rosa woke up and said to have seen the shadow of a man pacing in the living room. Bravely, she ran out of her bed to investigate. All she was left to find were large, wet boot prints. Hell no, my guy.
No, thank you.
When March 10th, 2012 came around, the family's experiences with uneasy noises and spectral footprints turned into something much darker and more menacing, leaving them with cold fear. It was 2 a.m., and for a family that would usually be asleep, they were kept awake from the grief of a loved one who had recently passed away. So you could imagine their shock when LaToya, who was in her mother's room, started screaming for her. LaToya's 12-year-old daughter and her friend were staying in that room that night. The girl was levitating above the bed, unconscious. LaToya's daughter.
Okay, the 12-year-old daughter. Yeah.
Yeah, so LaToya has 3 children, a daughter and 2 sons. She didn't want to give their names out, so I'll just be saying either their ages and son or daughter,
Right.
basically. So yeah, she was found levitating above the bed.
Did her friend find her? levitating?
It didn't really say. It just, I think her friend
imagine
and
it was the
Latoya
friend.
were, like, both in there, and, like, Latoya screamed for her mom, like, yeah. So,
God.
they all surrounded the girl and started to pray for her. Rosa had no idea what was happening or why. Eventually, the girl descended onto the bed and regained consciousness. However, she had no recollection of what happened. I can't even imagine that.
No idea that
Oh
she
my
was just
God.
levitating.
Nope. Struck with disbelief and a loss for what to do, they knew they had to get help from someone, somewhere. They did not know what was tormenting them, but they did know one thing. It was supernatural and evil. They contacted many churches, most of whom refused to help. After one church listened to their pleading,
Many churches refused?
they contacted many churches and they refused to help. For whatever reason, they wouldn't help them. So they finally found one church who would help them, and this was their advice. To clean the house with bleach and ammonia. And when I read that, I was just kind of like, okay. This doesn't seem very accurate.
What the hell is cleaning supposed to do?
Right. I would get if you're, like, cleaning it with, like, certain, like...
Holy water?
Yeah, or, like, certain cleansing things.
Right.
Or whatever you want to
Lemon,
use. Yeah.
Citrusy.
Essential oils
sage,
or whatever.
yeah.
Sage. Which they did sage the house. But they drew crosses with oil on the doors and windows. And I did hear oil was, like, commonly used too, like, not just in this case, but in many other ones as well. So, yeah, I don't know. That was kind of...
Like olive oil?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. So, Latoya also drew crosses on her children's forehead with oil. The family at one point reached out to 2 clairvoyants, so psychics, basically, who said the home was tormented by more than 200 demons.
So what was this, a house of, like, the demons of the fallen angels from heaven or something? Like, what?
Yeah.
Portal
maybe
to hell type
right.
situation?
Maybe it was a portal. Maybe they weren't all demons. Maybe they're
Just
evil
spirits,
entities
yeah.
or spirits, whatever
Or
that
not
may
all
be.
evil. Maybe some were
Right,
evil or
right.
some...
So that must have been shocking news. They received advice to move. However, this is not always easy for families.
Right. No.
You can't just pack up and move, especially Latoya and her family.
Because she's a single mom, right?
Right. Yeah,
And
with 3 kids.
Yeah, 3 kids, and her mom stops
Yeah.
by a lot too. Like,
Or is living there, it wasn't clear.
yeah.
But you can't, she was strapped for cash. You can't just up and move. This is something to take consideration too. Like when you tell people, oh, just move. Not everyone has that ability.
Move out
Has
of the
that.
house.
Right. You can't
Oh, yeah.
always just move.
Let me just tomorrow.
Right. Sometimes
Let
you're
me just
literally
move out.
stuck there. And who wants to buy a possessed house?
Right.
So yeah, she was advised to move. Obviously, she couldn't do that. She didn't have the means. So they did what they could to take safety preventatives, such as saging their house and praying and so on. It had been 3 days after they did all this, and nothing had happened.
So they thought they were safe.
Yep.
Thought.
Which, you know, oftentimes it is seen that you take preventative measures or cleanse your house, and it seems like everything's okay. But then, all of a sudden, it's not. Like a flip of a coin, it started again, and worse than before. So apparently they only made these entities angrier.
Mad. Yeah. Trying to get rid of them.
Yeah. The family recounted that the demons had possessed Latoya and her 3 children. Her children were 7, 9, and 12. Their voices deepened, evil faces adorned them, and their eyes bulged. Rosa, the mother of Latoya, said she truly believed there were guardians protecting herself from the possession. That's what she recounted, that she thought, like, she was protected from birth and, like,
Just
she
Rosa
had these
was?
guardians and everything. Yeah. For whatever reason. I don't know. But maybe if she didn't live there, she wasn't exposed to it as much as
Right,
her daughter
yeah,
and her
that could be.
grandchildren. I don't know. The youngest boy, then 7, sat in a closet talking to another boy that no one else could see. The other boy age 9, was describing what it felt like to be killed. Rosa Campbell, the mom, the grandma, said the 7-year-old once flew out of the bathroom as if he'd been thrown, and a headboard once smacked into Ammon's daughter, causing a wound that needed stitches. Being flung around and stuff and abused by these entities. The 12-year-old would later tell mental health professionals that she sometimes felt as if she were being choked and held down so she couldn't speak or move. She said she heard a voice say she'd never see her family again and wouldn't live another 20 minutes. With such terror, the family could no longer take it, and they went to stay at a hotel. Finally, in desperation, they went to their family physician, Dr. Jeffrey Onyeku. I'm so sorry. Dr. Jeffrey. On April 19th, 2012, a day after my birthday. Oh my god. Ammons said she told him what they were going through, hoping he might understand. The doctor said it was bizarre. That's what he said.
Oh, that's bizarre.
Yeah, apparently.
What?
Yep.
Okay.
20 years, and I've never heard anything like that in my life. I was scared myself when I walked into the room, said the physician. He said he would not speak in more details unless Ammons had psychiatric clearance for the waiver of confidentiality she had signed. So, yeah.
He wasn't much help.
No. No, he wasn't.
Which, I guess, what do you do when you're a doctor? Science backs everything.
Yeah, so in his notes, he wrote, delusions of ghosts in home, hallucinations.
Delusions and hallucinations.
He also wrote...
The whole family is just hallucinating.
Yeah, this whole family. And getting, thrown across the room and stuff. Police and emergency personnel took the boys to Methodist Hospital campus in Gary. I'm so sorry, my words. Latoya Ammons said the hospital personnel laughed at her desire to anoint her sons in olive oil.
Funny.
How could you laugh at someone? Even if you don't believe it. This person believes it. Respect their views.
That is not a medical professional.
No, not okay. I couldn't talk to them, she said, so I talked to God. The boys woke up in the hospital. The older boy, then 9, acted rationally, but the youngest screamed and thrashed. She said it took 5 men to hold him down. Someone called DCS and asked the agency to investigate Ammons. So on top of everything else, she's being investigated. The caller, who is not named in the DCS report, speculated that Ammons might have a mental illness. The person believed the children were performing for her, and she was encouraging their behavior. DCS family case manager Valerie Washington was asked to handle the initial investigation. She gave the following account to the police and in her intake officer's report. Hospital personnel examined Ammons and her children and found them to be healthy and free of marks or abuse. A hospital, psychiatrist evaluated Ammons and determined she was sound of mind. There you go, DCS. While she spoke with Ammons, the 7-year-old boy started growling with his teeth showing. His eyes rolled back in his head. The boy locked his hands around his older brother's throat and refused to let go until adults pried his hands open. Later that evening, Washington and registered nurse Willie Lee Walker brought the boys into a small examine room to interview them. Campbell joined them. The 7-year-old stared into his brother's eyes and began to growl. "It's time to die," said the boy in a deep, unnatural voice. "I will kill you."
No. To his brother.
Yep, a 7-year-old boy said this to his brother. While the youngest boy spoke, the older brother started headbutting his grandma in the stomach. She grabbed her grandson's hands and started praying. What happened next would rattle the witness, and to it would offer not only evidence, but proof of paranormal activity. The 9-year-old had a weird grin and walked backwards up the wall to the ceiling. Then he flipped over his grandma, Rosa Campbell, landing on his feet. He never let go of his grandmother's hand, said the DCS report, the person who wrote this DCS report. He walked up the wall, flipped over her, and stood there, Walker told. No. Oh, sorry. Walker is the nurse who was there in the room who, said this in the DCS report. So she said he walked up the wall, flipped over, and stood there. There's no way he could have done that. Later, the police asked the nurse whether the boy had run up the wall as though performing an acrobatic trick. What?
Yeah, I can do that.
What the hell?
I can climb up the wall. Yeah. I'm an acrobat.
Yeah. You want to see me try?
How are you going to do that? How would that be an acrobatic trick?
Literally. No. Just no. Gravity? Is that a thing? Apparently not. Okay. The nurse said the boy glided backwards on the floor, wall, and ceiling, according to the police report. So these people are credible people in a hospital.
Yeah.
Reporting to the
this
DCS,
is their
to the police.
Report.
Yeah.
Medical professionals.
Did you see my phone? Oh my god, what the fuck was that? What the fuck?
Only light and love is allowed
Only
here.
light
Only
and
the highest
love.
Vibrations are allowed in this room,
Yep.
in this house.
Oh my god, my
weird.
phone, for those who weren't watching or may not have known what just happened, my phone literally glitched.
Just glitched
and the
the fuck
screen,
out.
like, when, like
Started
with
scrolling all the
images,
way
and,
up.
like, it was going really fast. I don't know what the hell that just happened.
Only light and love is allowed in this room.
And I lost
only
my
light
place.
and love is allowed
Okay.
in our listeners'
Yes.
ears.
Only light and love surrounds us.
Continue.
Okay. She told the police she was scared when it happened and ran out of the room. He ran out of the room with me. We didn't know what was going on, she told the Star, which is where I'm getting this report from. That was crazy. I was like, everybody gotta go. According to Washington, her report, they told a doctor what happened. The doctor, who did not believe them, asked the boy to walk up the wall again. So the doctors asked this boy to walk up the wall again.
Do you want to do that again?
The boy said he didn't remember what happened and couldn't do it. Obviously. No kidding.
It wasn't him.
Okay. So the mother and daughter stayed in the hospital while the boys and their grandma went to stay at a family member's home in Gary. The family contacted a reverend and helped prove it wasn't superstition and reasoned it was demonic possession. LaToya started detailing everything that happened, which took 2 hours. Then the reverend interrupted the interview to point out the flickering lights. Oh my god, that's scary. The lights stopped flickering each time the reverend walked over to investigate.
Must have been scared of him.
Yeah, right. He's a man of Jesus. After a 4-hour interview, the Reverend was convinced the family was being tormented by demons and also believed there were ghosts in the house. Okay, cool. So people believe them. He then blessed the house, praying and reading from the Bible, sprinkling holy water in each room. He told the family they had to leave because it wasn't safe. They temporarily lived with a relative. DCS petitioned the court temporary wardship of the 3 children, finding LaToya neglected her children by not having them go to school regularly.
So that's why they took her kids.
Right, I guess. LaToya told Washington she would not send the kids to school because the spirits would make them sick or they would be up all night without sleep. Yeah.
Right. I wouldn't be sending my kids to school either.
The daughter and older son were sent to a St. Joseph's home, and the youngest was sent to a Christian haven for psychiatric evaluation. It was evaluated that the 8-year-old boy did not suffer from a psychotic disorder. It was said to appear as an unfortunate and sad case of a child who had been induced into a delusional system perpetuated by his mother.
This is everything that DCS claimed.
Yeah. So that LaToya was basically
neglecting her kids.
Neglecting her
and
kids,
that's
and they were delusional
Delusional.
from her
neglection.
neglection and whatever. Yeah.
Oh my
So
God.
the psychologist evaluated the other children and came to a similar conclusion. The mother was also examined several times by different psychologists who said she was seemed to be guarded but did not have symptoms of psychosis or thought disorder.
So how do you explain it?
Right. They still continued to insist they were all being possessed by demons. DCS credited Ammons for having a close bond with her children and said she needs to use alternative forms of discipline not related to demonic possession.
You need to discipline
What?
your kids better.
What?
Discipline.
Okay. Police went to look at the home. The Reverend initially denied a church-sanctioned exorcism, but a Reverend performed a minor exorcism on LaToya. He told LaToya to look up the names of the demons that were tormenting her. He then used the names to cast out the demons during exorcism, which we won't say the names, because no thanks. He pressed a crucifix against her head and spoke, "I cast you out in clean spirit, along with every satanic power of the enemy, every specter from hell, and your fell companions, in the name of Lord Jesus Christ." Okay.
Cast you out.
Yeah. The Reverend continued to get louder each time he repeated these rites. LaToya was convulsing. The Reverend did many exorcisms. The final one was at the end of June 2012. Police officers attended every single exorcism, which is good to know that there were police there.
Right, just in case something crazy happened.
Witnessing this, and yeah.
And yeah, they could witness it.
Yeah. At the time, LaToya drove back to Indianapolis and said they now live without fear. She regained custody of her children in November of 2012, and the case was closed.
Because when were they taken? I think it said 6 months later, so her kids were taken for 6 months.
For 6 months, she did not have her kids. She was going through hell, being exorcised from these demons, and finally, it was successful.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. The case has been closed since. LaToya said she is now happy. There is no longer a demonic presence in the house. LaToya said, "When you hear something like this, don't assume it's not real, because I've lived it, and I know it's real."
I wonder if they're still in Indiana and, like, living their best life and, like, happy.
I hope so.
Because that was 2012, so it's been 10 years, so her kids are all grown up now.
Yeah.
I mean, the 7-year-old is, 17 now?
Mm-hmm.
But they're all grown up, and, like, I just wonder where they're at in life, you know? I hope all things are good.
I hope so. It was also noted that Zach Bagans from, Ghost Hunters or whatever the show, he, got rights, or he made an episode about this, and then Netflix got the rights to this story. So I don't know if they're making something or what, but
yeah, I wonder when that was.
Yeah, I don't know.
We'll have to look into that.
Yeah.
Or you guys can look into it.
Yeah.
Ghost Hunters, is it Ghost Hunters USA or something?
I think so. Yeah.
So there could be an episode coming or already out on it. That's
so
crazy.
There's more out there about LaToya's story.
Okay. This story I got from Reddit, and the author did say that he or she put, I think it's he, I didn't fully read it, put in there at the end of his Reddit post that anyone can use this on YouTube or as a podcast or whatever. We will link both of these stories in our YouTube video, so you can go there and look at it, and look at both the links. And I will be sending the author the video, because they did say they wanted it.
I hope you watch or listen.
Right,
and
yeah.
enjoy.
So it's called The Demonic House We Lived In When I Was 11 or 12, or between 11 and 12. Attached to this post is a photograph of a house, which you can click on the link and look at the house. From the outside, it seems to be average, nondescript house. The kind of place you'd likely find in any city or small town. It's not, though. This house is something out of the Twilight Zone or a Stephen King novel. You see, I lived in this house when I was 11 to 12 years old. That was between 1993 and 1994. My room was the one above the porch with the double window. My sister's room was across the hall. My mother and brothers lived downstairs. During the time we lived there, strange things occurred. Some of them you may find hard to believe, and that's fine. I can only assure you that they actually did happen. Some 26 years after the fact, I can provide you no evidence and only my solemn word that everything I'm about to tell you is the absolute truth. For starters, sometimes our clocks would run backwards for no discernible reason. We changed the batteries and checked them for defects, but nothing seemed to be amiss. They just randomly start running in reverse from time to time. That's so creepy.
Yeah.
And we don't have, we just look at our phones for clocks, but in 93,
Right.
Obviously you had clocks on the walls. There was also an issue with our basement. How do I describe this? I guess the best way would be to say the basement seemed to be a portal to hell. We would hear strange noises coming from down there that couldn't be explained away as creaking pipes or the house settling on the foundation, which a lot of times, in ghost hunters and stuff, they just find that it's pipes making noises and whatnot. Things like demonic growling, roaring. When someone had to go down there to do laundry, there was a sound like people whispering, and the whole area had an unsettling feel to it.
I would never go in that basement.
Yeah, no, thank
no.
you. I would be moving my laundry upstairs or going to a laundromat.
Yeah.
We had this dog, a German Shepherd, named Lassie. Oh, cute.
Oh.
She was an exceptionally brave, loyal, and protective dog, but would not go near the basement or the basement door even.
Smart girl.
Yeah. Eventually, she became so terrified that she ran away and never came back.
That is so heartbreaking.
Your dog is literally so scared of your house that it ran away and wouldn't go near your house again.
Oh my god, that's so sad.
There was also a night when we all woke up to find a big black crow, or a raven, I'm not quite sure, in the house, flying madly around.
In the house?
In
What?
the house. It says in the house.
Oh my god.
This was in the ungodly hours of the morning, so probably 3 a.m.
Of course.
Mind you, so no one... This was ungodly hours of the morning, mind you, so no one would have been up to open a door or window to let it in. If you can even imagine an intelligent bird like a crow or raven willingly flying through an opening into a human dwelling like some kind of idiotic sparrow.
No.
There were no holes in the roof, no place for it to get in and out. So where did it come from and where did it go? I have no memory of us actually getting the bird out of the house, but I never saw it again. There was the man. At the back of the house was a hallway that led off the dining room and past the kitchen towards lower floor bedrooms. The twins were toddlers at the time and had a nursery in the rearmost room on the left. They would sit back there and have conversations with someone that none of us could see. They referred to this person simply as the man.
Oh my god.
The man seemed to enjoy keeping the boys company, but he was anything but benign. One day, while the rest of us were at school, my mom had the twins in their high chairs, feeding them lunch. When she stepped away to do something, probably get something from the kitchen, answer the phone, I don't remember. There was a crash and the sound of screaming. One of the twins was on the floor. His high chair tipped over. Oh my god.
That's so sad.
He'd bashed his head really hard. The high chairs had been secured on flat footing before she started. So, it wouldn't just... A toddler couldn't just, whip them down. No. The high chairs had been flat footing before she started. She asked the other twin what had happened. He replied, the man did it. Oh, that's so creepy.
That is really creepy.
My little brother ended up in the hospital in a coma for a long time. You might be happy to know that he survived and today is married with 2 beautiful daughters. But CPS didn't believe that my mother was innocent and began talking to us. They would park across the street from our house and watch us. They would drop in unexpectedly. They were looking for a reason to take us and to put us in foster care. This is how we ultimately ended up leaving the house. Rather than deal with any more tragedy or weirdness or stalking, we packed up what we could and moved across the country. What we couldn't take with us, we left behind. I asked my mother once about 5 years before she died if she'd ever actually seen the entity that the boys referred to as the man. She said she had, but only once. She said she was walking past the kitchen door one day and caught sight of someone in her peripheral vision, a tall man wearing dark clothes, standing with his back to her, staring out of the kitchen window. When she turned to get a better look, he was gone. That scared the crap out of all of us. There was always a feeling like we were being watched. Thankfully, it is many years and many miles behind us. When we left, there was no one to pay the mortgage, so the bank took possession. Because of this, today it is privately owned by people I do not know. For that reason, I will not disclose the location. I won't even tell you what state it's in. If you're ever unfortunate enough to stumble upon it, however, I advise you keep walking. Don't stop to look, because if you stop to take a look at this place, there's likely something you can't see staring back at you. And then they also put an update. My sister informed me after the original posting that my mom told her that walking in the upstairs hallway, she could hear growling breathing behind her. I hadn't even been aware of that detail, so it makes for a truly unnerving addition.
Oh my god.
So he didn't say at all, like, if it was actually a demon, but, like, just the feeling of that.
Yeah.
Definitely, and, like, tipping your kid over, that's definitely an evil, malicious spirit.
The sad part is that house looks really cute.
Yeah, it's a really cute house. That's why, like, you have no idea.
Yeah. Looks can be deceiving, and you never know where evil lies.
Right. It could be in this house.
Don't say that.
I don't
it's not.
think it is.
It's literally not.
Like, every house I've ever lived in has had spirits.
Yep.
I don't necessarily think any of them were negative.
Except for maybe that dark entity that was in my mirror.
Oh, I lied. Yeah, I think that house did have something negative in it. I wouldn't say negative. But something that...
unsettling.
Yeah, unsettling, didn't want to be there, just was kind of annoyed, maybe. I don't think it was anything, like, evil,
No,
though.
not like poltergeist or evil or demon or anything.
It wasn't anything, like, hurting us or anything like that, but I believe that it definitely was something negative. And my friend from high school said his family lived in that house, and his uncle died of brain cancer in the living room, and then... I think it was either his cousin or some girl hung herself in one of the closets in that house, and it ended up being the closet in the bedroom that I was in.
Yeah.
So yeah, I always had to sleep with my closet door closed, and there was a couple times where I would wake up and my closet door was open. And then my friend one time, we were napping, and I got up to go get the mail because I got an Amazon package, and I remember when I was inside, I just, like, let her keep sleeping because I wasn't going to wake her up, and she, like, ran out of the room and was like, oh my god, like, I felt you laying next to me still. Like, I could feel you.
That's
like,
so
your presence
scary.
next to me still, but
Like
you
someone
weren't there.
laying next to me, but you're outside getting the mail.
Right. And I never felt that when I was in my bed in that house.
Well, I remember the very first night, I believe, that we moved into that house. I went to sleep in my bedroom, and I could not sleep because it felt like the entire room was, like, being turned. And, like, this way, like, it felt like my bed was being turned. Like I don't know how to explain
I don't know
it.
if you've ever
It wasn't
the situation,
vertigo.
but no. But, like, if you go to bed and you're really, really drunk,
It
and you
wasn't
try to lay
like
down
that.
and shut your eyes, and, like, the
No.
whole room is spinning.
It wasn't like that. It literally felt like my body was turning.
I never knew that. You never told me that.
Yeah. I didn't sleep in that bedroom that night, in that bed. I ran into mom and dad's room and was like, I can't sleep. And so I slept on their floor.
Oh my god.
It was frightening.
I have so many stories for that house, but we can talk about our own, like, encounters in another episode. Maybe next episode. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But
that was demons.
yeah.
I hope you enjoyed this pleasant experience.
Let us know if you want us to go more in depth about, like, Lucifer and Lilith and, like, their stories and how they're misconceived a lot of times. Or if you have any stories you want to tell us.
If you have name suggestions for this pretty little lady.
Yeah. So we're either thinking Clarice.
Oh, you can name her Pearl. She has,
Or-
like, pearls on her.
I don't like Pearl. It reminds me of the girl. No, it reminds me of the girl from Vampire Diaries.
Oh,
Like
I
one of the old
barely
Pearl
even
and
think
Vampire.
about
Oh.
that girl.
That's what I think of when I think of the name Pearl.
Okay.
Anyways, we were thinking Clarice or
Yeah.
I like Adeline or Adelaide.
That's
but
pretty too. Quid pro quo, Clarice.
she's cute.
She is cute. She's shady. She's got a big hat on.
So, but anyways, thank you guys so much for listening.
Thanks for listening or watching.
Yeah, this is
Father, Son, and the Holy Sisters taking back the Holy Trinity.
We love you guys.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.